Good afternoon and welcome to Make a Change Monday. My name is Erica and I work at the Cleveland Public Library. And if you joined us last week, thank you for participating and we welcome you back to today. So today our artist from Center for Arts Inspired Learning is Mark, and Mark is going to teach us about photography and how to take photos of your beautiful neighborhoods. Mark, I'm going to let you take it over.
Hi there, I'm Mark Yazinchek. I'm a teaching artist with Center for Arts Inspired Learning. Thank you, Erica, for the wonderful introduction. And today we're going to learn a little bit about photography. Before there was your smartphone, there were cameras like this that didn't make phone calls. So this is like something new. These phones, these smartphones that have probably more power in them for taking pictures than some of the digital cameras even that we have today. Even though the optics and quality might be better on a digital camera, you know, there's even some of these big old ones like this. And then there's also some point and shoot ones like this. There's a lot of software that comes with your smartphone that makes it possible to edit your pictures, to combine them, that you don't have in the software for a digital camera. So your cell phone, and plus it's very convenient. It's always there for you. So it's easy to take a picture and at any time, you don't have to be carrying around your camera with you. You've got it with you the whole time on your phone. And the portrait, the two formats for your pictures are either portrait, how do you turn on this phone? Are either portrait like this or landscape like this. So if you're shooting TikTok videos, those are all in portrait. Facebook can do both. It can do portrait or landscape. And if you notice when you do a portrait in Facebook, it adds a border of like a blurred out cropping of the video. So if you wanted to avoid that, shoot landscape on Facebook. And then Instagram solves that problem by making all their images square. They do have Instagram Live, which is all portrait, kind of like TikTok too. These cameras, let me just show you really quick. What makes these cameras so nice is their optics. They have lenses in the front. This one has a lens that comes out, and that gives you some focus ability and some detail that you don't get with the focusing and optics of your camera. In fact, your phone on your camera has very little optics, and they sell little kits that you can add to get macro lenses and wide angle lenses and fisheye lenses for your camera. A lot of these cameras with lenses have some of those optical abilities that your cell phone doesn't have. Although in the software for your phone, you can give most pictures a fisheye lens, a close-up, optical illusion. It's not quite the same thing. And then on this camera, this has a nice little tripod. If you're shooting for YouTube, YouTube is both portrait and landscape, although with YouTube, it's better to shoot in landscape because most people are watching YouTube on their phones and PCs, and you get a wider image if you shoot landscape like this rather than the portrait image. So this makes it real easy. They make tripod stands for cell phones too, so you can shoot with the video camera or use your video camera as a streaming device for your phone if you're shooting live on YouTube or TikTok. I like those cameras. Partly you wear them around your neck. They're a little bit more traditional cameras, although a lot of younger people don't have that experience with younger cameras or with older cameras, especially cameras with film in them. You can still buy like this point and shoot disposable cameras at the drugstore, at a photography store, but nothing beats the convenience of a cell phone. And I'm sold with it as much as anyone else who grew up with cell phone videos. So, those are the dimensions of a picture. You can go into the settings on your phone and choose different settings for different size pictures. If you want to shoot a lot of pictures that you don't need to have really great quality, you can shoot, and you'll fit more than on your hard drive, in the memory of your phone, on the SD card or in the internal memory. But if you want to have pictures that you can print on paper or share with people, it's nicer to shoot at least the fine setting or the high def setting. The fine setting is the FD setting on most phones, and HDF is a high def setting on the phone. Those might be a little, I'm used to working with Android. Those settings might be a little different on an Apple, an iPod or an Apple. Okay. So some of the editing programs we're going to do today are InShot, which is a video editing program. That's available on both iTunes or the iStore, the Apple Store, and the Android Store. Snapseed, which is available on both. Irfan View is a shareware program that's used for photo editing on PCs. All these names of all these programs and links to where you can get them, either for your Android phone, your Apple phone, or your PC computer, or Apple computer, are on the links below this video. And then Tilt Shift, we're gonna look at that a little bit. And then there's a really neat photo app called Paper Camera that makes everything look like drawings. If we have time, we'll go into that. So the first one is called InShot. It does video and photo editing. The best thing about InShot is that it's strong. It's a more complex program than even like a Movie Maker or iMovie on the PC computers or laptop computers for Apple. It's a really nice program. You can do text on it. You can do a lot of different things. I won't be showing any video today. I'll be doing entirely photo editing. And then Snapseed is probably the best photo editing, maybe even a little better than Photoshop, although you can't alter things like you can in Photoshop, but you can really, really make beautiful photographs on Snapseed. You can make memes, which is putting words over images. If you have a message, a social message or a political message, or any kind of like greeting that you want to have for your Instagram followers or YouTube followers, or to post on Facebook. And Tilt Shift is just, I'll show you the pictures. It just gives things a little charming, unique perspective. So let's go into, I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to start with some editing, some samples of edited photographs. So here's a picture of a walrus. Not all portraits have to be of people. And I collected these off of Instagram. I like a lot of good animal pictures. If you like spiders, this jumping spider, there's a person on Instagram who keeps them as pets and takes macro pictures. A macro image is a small thing that you magnify. The lenses on the camera magnify that small thing so you can get a good picture of it, and that's called macro photography. A lot of macro photography happens in a microscope, where you take pictures of single cell organisms and microorganisms. I love almost the grin that this spider has on his or her face, and I love the 4 big eyes in front. And then this beautiful picture of crows. Both of these are from the Daily James, a crow that was rescued and is kept at a wildlife sanctuary for injured animals, recuperating animals. But crows up close, you usually don't get that close to them, and I think this is a beautiful portrait of 2 animals. You see lots of detail on their beaks, lots of detail on their faces that you wouldn't see any other way. So this is Tilt Shift. I told you a little bit about this earlier. And the weird thing about Tilt Shift is it makes everything look like it was on a toy train set. These look like little miniature models of real places, but they're not. That's a real boat. Those are real people, even though they look kind of fake. And so what's happening here is a long time ago with regular regular film cameras, the lenses, they could tilt the lenses so that the light from the image went through at an angle, and it would intentionally blur the top of the image and the bottom of the image and give an unusual depth of field to the picture. And a depth of field is the part of the picture that's in focus. So sometimes most of the portraits, the person in front is in focus and the background is out of focus. So the depth of field is very shallow. It's only to the person in front of the camera and then to the person in front of the subject of the portrait. And then everything behind the person is out of focus. And that would be out of the depth of field. This one's of the city. It's a more subtle effect, but it still gives that miniaturized kind of toy quality to the landscape of the city. So here's one where you can see clearly that these are all real people, but again, it's blurring it at the top and the bottom, and it gives you the optical illusion that these are little miniaturized people. So this might not be that interesting of a picture without that effect. It's easy to log on. You can download this on your phone, or you can even log on to their website and upload the picture, tinker with it, and give it these really nice optical illusions. In fact, this one I think was done with software rather than inside a camera. That very first one I think was done with a special camera, specially designed for tilt shifting. This one, again, I think is done on with software, and it gives an unusual perspective to the picture. And I think the out of focus parts of the picture is as important as the small depth of field right here, the part of the picture that is in focus. And it pulls your eye, the optical illusion of the blurred part at the top and the bottom, pull your eye to the center of the picture. And so this, again, looks like a toy stadium from a train set, but it's not. It's a real stadium, probably taken from a drone or from an airplane and then used. You can see that even part of the stadium is blurred out, but it miniaturizes that field and gives it a very unique appearance. And I love this one of this little Norwegian town. It makes it even more cold looking and in the middle of nowhere looking. And the little tugboat. This one, the effect isn't as great, but it really, if that background, you can do this with also blur effects. A lot of the Snapseed, the software that I told you about earlier, lets you blur out parts of the picture. So you can blur out things so you can see things that you want people to see things that you want to bring into the foreground, even though sometimes they're not. So this picture I don't think would be as interesting if all this building and this big wall over here along the river were in focus. Here, that the boat is sharply in focus, pulls your eye to it. I think that's all right. Oh, one more. The Eiffel Tower. And this one, again, I think is done with a special tilt frame camera, because if you did this on the software, all this top part would be out of focus. And here, just this little bit is in focus right in that area in the picture. So I think it gives a monumental effect to the Eiffel Tower, and also a miniaturizing effect, and making that the base of the Eiffel Tower look that much more bigger. So here's a picture I took just the other day, last Wednesday. There was a rainbow out after the big storm we had. And this is what the picture looked like when I downloaded it off my camera after I took it. But when I took it, the colors were a bit brighter. The sky was blue, it wasn't so gray. And if you could almost see up here, there's a double rainbow. And then here is the brighter rainbow. So I put it in Snapseed and I played around with it a little bit. I didn't use any of the filters. So a filter is something like a preset set of changes that the software automatically does, the app automatically does to the picture. I went in there and individually did the changes. And so I saturated the color a little bit to make it richer. I couldn't get the beautiful blue sky that I remember, but I got it close, and I still didn't get the double rainbow up here. But I also got some more color into the houses and to the grass, which I think makes it a little bit more interesting picture. And I also squared it off a little bit, taking off some areas that maybe we didn't need. I didn't need all that tree on the left-hand side or the house on the left-hand side. So I kind of kept it simple and made a picture that was good even better. And sometimes you don't have the chance to take a great picture when you have the chance to. You just got to take a picture that you can. like a minute later, the rainbow was gone. Do you have any questions? If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to take some now.
Mark, these are beautiful photos. Thank you so much for sharing. We have some viewers that may have just joined in.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you just go back a little bit and let us know which software you use to enhance the photos?
Sure. So, Erica, they're going to be sharing it underneath the video after the video presentation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the links to everything are down there. I'm using a software program called Irfan that's on the PC that I use a lot. But for Apple phones and for Android phones, let's see, InShot was for video and photo editing. Snapseed is pretty much, they might have a video component, but right now it's just for, the one that I use is just for photographs. And it does, in the next few photographs that I'm showing you, will all be entirely done on Snapseed. The few pictures that we did before this were samples of tilt shifting, and that's called Tilt Shifted, and you can find it on Apple and Android. And look around, there's more than one, but the ones that I listed here are usually ad-free and are free to use. Sometimes I think with InShot, you might have to pay for it to get a really high quality. You get a little bit more, but it's not that expensive. It's $2 or $3 to buy the full program. And also a paper camera, which is a fun one. It makes everything look like sketchbook drawings. So let's go back to, so I made this kind of dull gray picture into at least somewhat more interesting picture. The rainbow is the prettiest thing in this, and I could even go in and maybe edit it a little bit more. Right now I'm in Irfan, and I could go edit it. I could take out all those cars and maybe even some of those wires. And that maybe makes the picture a little bit better. In Photoshop, you can go in and actually take out those wires by patching the sky over the wires and cleaning up the sky a little bit. But Irfan's a nice quick way to do things. Oh, and then I tried tilt shifting the rainbow picture, but it just looked blurry. It didn't work that good. But I like that effect anyways. So here's one. I was walking my dog and I took a blurry picture, and sometimes some of my favorite pictures are blurry pictures. I had nothing to do with this in any kind of software or editing. I did have my phone on my camera set to take square pictures that I use for Instagram. Most of the pictures that I take are square pictures for Instagram. And I just left it like that. Here's a more in focus picture. Here's one with tilt shifted. I added tilt shift effects to the dandelion picture. And then here is, here's my dog in the field with the dandelions, and then here's her tilt shifted. And I also edited the picture a little bit. I raised the contrast so she's a little darker against the darkness of the grass. And also I think I sharpened it a little bit too. You can see her fur a little bit, and it's a little clear for the blades of grass. And then there's that blurry picture again. I really liked that picture. So here is a picture of an elevator in my studio building. What I'm going to do is show you a bunch of different ways to edit that and what some of the software does. This is a freight elevator. I liked it because of the pictures. I liked that there was some text in it, a lot of dramatic lighting and vertical and horizontal shadows and lines in it. So here's tilt shifted. It doesn't work too good on it, although it does pull into focus that center part of the picture. Maybe if someone was standing there, this would be a more effective effect to use on this picture. And here's one where I used the filter called Pop. In Snapseed, they give you a bunch of name filters at the bottom. Instagram does the same thing, but with Instagram, unless you have your settings set right, you kind of lose that edited picture unless you tell tell the program in settings to save the altered pictures that you're posting. Otherwise, it just gets posted and then the picture gets lost. It's not saved on your phone. And the video or the photo editing effects on Instagram are good, but I like Snapseed more because you can do it quicker and it has more power to it. There's more options, there's more filters, there's more tools that you can use to change those settings in a picture, those characteristics in a picture. And I won't be showing the workings of Snapseed or Tilt Shift. They're very, very easy to learn. And they're fun to play around with. There's tutorials online that you can use to like get detailed instructions on the program, but I would suggest just playing around with it and experimenting with it and making some mistakes. And sometimes one thing that you try, you wouldn't have tried intentionally, but because it happened, it's like this happy accident that happens and makes a very interesting picture. So here I made the picture black and white. This is a really easy setting to, it's one of the filters on Snapseed, or it's a filter on Instagram too. And I think a lot of images look are enhanced by creating black and white, taking out all the color and making them black and white. And then there's also this filter called Silhouette that makes it even darker and it enhances the shadows and enhances the layers of black. It enhances the brick pattern on the wall as well as the grid of the wooden gate that goes up and down, and it really creates a beautiful texture on the floor. So again, there's this is one that's filtered a little bit. Here's black and white, and then here's a filter called Silhouette. And I think a lot of pictures look great in black and white. So sometimes you take pictures in an angle, like notice that sign is at an angle. And what I tried to do was change the perspective a little bit so it looks like I'm not taking the picture from an angle into the elevator, but I'm fixing it so I'm looking straight on into the elevator. So you notice the angle of the floor is a little straighter and the slats on the back are a little angled because I was changing the perspective. This is a really neat thing that you can't do in digital cameras or digital or film cameras, but you can do in software. So you can change, if you're looking up at something, you can change the perspective so that you're looking at eye level at it. It's not perfect, and for people it works less well than it does for like landscapes or interiors or cityscapes. It's pretty easy to trick the eye there, not as easy for a person. So here's a vignette. It's called, I added blurred all around the center of the picture. And this is really good to do. And it doesn't work that well here, but it's great for portraiture and maybe a landscape or an interior where you have one thing you want to see. Here, of course, it highlights the garbage can in the corner of the elevator. Another nice effect that you can get is a double exposure. So it gives you an option to add another picture on top of the picture that you're editing. And then you can make that picture semi-transparent or totally transparent, so you get different layers of effect. And this picture here is a shadow of me on the grass. I think I was walking my dog again, on top of that picture of the elevator. And then here's it's subtle, but you can add nice little borders. This is an old Polaroid camera kind of border that you can add to pictures to give it a different feel. In Cleveland, it's easy to have pictures printed up at doddcamera.com, or even at the local drugstore at Walmart. You can send in pictures and have them printed up. And it gives you the option for square pictures. A lot of times square pictures will be printed on rectangular pieces of paper, photo paper, but having a border around it is a nice effect on a printed picture. And then you can add words to make your own memes at home, to commemorate something. You can do this on video too. In InShot, it's real easy to do. And in InShot, it gives you some nice transitional effects where lettering fades in and fades out. It gives you the option to raise and lower the text that you add, change the fonts, make the fonts bigger. And I wrote the word elevate all in capitals, but you can do lowercase and uppercase too. It's not so rigid like that. And then you can also zoom in on a part of a picture and crop it. This is called cropping. It magnifies the picture, but the better the quality of the picture that you have, the more you can zoom in on it with photo editing software afterwards. And then you can also rotate the picture. And here I turned it upside down. So sometimes The one tricky thing with phone cameras is sometimes they think that you're standing in a different direction. I don't know why, but when you get the picture and you're looking at it on the computer, and sometimes even on your phone, it'll turn it. And so it's either on its side or upside down. And you can go in with Snapseed and just rotate the picture 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So here's a couple pictures of my dog Fern. I thought I would do some portraits. This is in my studio. It's a pretty good picture. Some nice detail. She usually doesn't pose for the camera, but she did here. So here's black and white again. I think it's a really nice way. Although in this picture, she kind of gets lost in the fabric behind her on the couch, but you still see the intensity in her eyes, and I think that's the powerful part. People's eyes, people's hands, people's faces are really powerful parts of pictures. This is, again, that same filter that I used for the elevator. It's called Pop, and it brightens up some of the colors. She pretty much looks the same, but the background has gotten a little richer. And then here's a vignette. This is where I made the border, the outside of the picture a little darker, focusing in on her a little bit. And then here I added a border along the outside of the picture. Again, it would look really good on a printed piece, and it would also make a great screensaver for a camera or for a phone. Again, this one's shot in portrait, not landscape. Landscape would be like that. Landscape would be like that. That's the landscape perspective. And notice how much bigger the picture gets on here. And then here is the portrait perspective. And then here is another one where I blurred around the border. I did it in the elevator picture to not so great effect, and I think here it's a little subtler, and it really, again, refocuses your attention in the picture on her face. Oh, and that's it. So Erica, that's the end of my presentation. I was open for any questions. I can review things for people who maybe came in later. I would be happy to do any of that.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. This was great, and I look forward to trying to use some of these tools as well. I don't see any questions at the moment, but I will say that you have had a number of viewers tune in. So I'm sure, you know, hopefully, is there a way people can contact you?
Through you, that would be easy. Can they contact through messaging through the Facebook?
Absolutely. Yep. And not just the Facebook. Viewers can also email our office at ops, that's OPS, at cpo.org. So if anyone has any questions for Mark that they weren't able to ask us today, feel free to send us an email.
Oh, I included my my website and my Instagram page on links on the comments underneath this picture too. So underneath this video too, so they could contact me there if they wanted to.
Okay. And you know what, right now we are experiencing technical difficulties. I know you had some really cool links, those resources that you wanted to share.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to add those to our cpo.beanstack.org webpage.
Okay.
And in that way, the patrons can access that information.
Okay. You know, I can go in too and add it as a comment to the video as well. Cut and paste all that in there. Could I do it in the chat room here? Could I pull up the chat feature? And
yeah, but it won't stream.
Okay.
Yep. It won't work for our Facebook viewers.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll definitely make sure we get those resources shared. I'm interested in looking at some myself. So.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
To let people know, I have one coming up in 2 weeks on Monday the 29th. We're doing paper, recycled, reused paper flowers. And if you picked up the material set, the materials are in there with, oh, yeah. And if not, this gives you 2 weeks to get a kit of materials. And also there's one every Monday for the next how many weeks?
I believe we have 4 more weeks left.
Yeah, so there's still lots of, I think we're not even halfway through the programs yet. So I'm looking forward to my next one.
Yes, so as Mark mentioned, the Center for Arts Inspired Learning are facilitating our Monday workshops. And we have the supplies available for free while supplies last at all of our CPO curbside locations. You can visit our website at cpl.org to see which locations are open. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Mark, thank you very much for sharing this wonderful information with us. We will be back next Monday at 1:00 p.m. for another Make a Change Monday workshop.
Hey, thank you very much. Take
Thank
good
you.
pictures.
Bye.
Bye.